Night Edge Media just leaked the episode titles of the new Netflix live-action adaptation of The Last Airbender, and Avatar News put them in order as best as they could, and the result? A whole lot of speculation. In this video, I'll be covering what I know of the story and how each of these titles might give us better insight into what will be included and what will be cut. So, let's put on our investigative goggles and get to theorizing. First, in case you didn't know, the adaptation will only be 8 episodes, each an hour long, which will be around the same runtime as the original show, which ran for 20 episodes at 22 minutes. As we know from Netflix, not all of their episodes are the same length, so keep that in mind as we talk about how much can fit into a single episode in the live-action adaptation. Sometimes the episodes can be as short as 45 minutes, and some can be an hour and a half long. I'm looking at you, Stranger Things. Okay, so right off the top of my head, here are my thoughts. The Last Airbender has to be the first episode, and I called what will be included half a year ago in this video. I'll bet money now that the first 3 episodes of the original series will serve as our first episode of the adaptation, starting with The Boy in the Iceberg, The Avatar Returns, and The Southern Air Temple. And the adaptation title totally works with each of these episodes, with The Last Airbender literally referring to Aang, the boy in the iceberg, The Avatar Returning, who is also The Last Airbender, and The Southern Air Temple, which literally shows us that Aang is the last of his kind. It's perfect! The episode will have greater impact when it ends with Aang seeing Gyatso and going crazy with the Avatar state. And I think it's a very good choice for these first 3 episodes to be put into one. That is absolutely the perfect way to set up this whole season. The episode will likely be written by Albert Kim, the showrunner, and the original creators. So for you folks, such as myself, who were pretty devastated by the original creators leaving, this episode might hold their vision more so than the rest. The actors will likely include all of the main cast, as well as Paul Lee as Uncle Iroh, Ken Long as Zhao, and possibly even Daniel Day Kim as Fire Lord Ozai. So that leaves us with episode 2, which obviously has to be about the Kyoshi warriors. However, I'm not sure the original episode could fit in 1 hour, so this will be our first look at how Netflix will expand the lore with added characters and scenarios. We already know that Avatar Kyoshi, who originally only shows up in Book 2 and then Book 3, will be making an appearance, since Yvonne Chapman has been casted and is on record saying that her character is there to be, quote, a source of tough love for Aang. We also know that Suki will have an expanded role, as well as her mother, who is an entirely new character in the live-action version. In fact, Suki's mom is taking over for the mayor character in the original. I'm okay with that change, so long as they give us the foaming mouth guy going nuts for Aang. What's more, we may even see some stuff from the Suki Alone comic to fill out some of the gaps. Heck, we might even have set up for Suki like that comic did, so that it makes more sense if and when Kyoshi shows up as a spirit in the Boiling Rock, which of course wouldn't happen until Book 3. This episode is likely written by Joshua Hale, who was a writer on the Young Justice series. The actors will likely include Maria Zhang as Suki, Tamli Tomita as Suki's mom, and Yvonne Chapman as Avatar Kyoshi. Omashu as the 3rd episode makes sense chronologically. Like with the adaptation of the Warriors of Kyoshi episode, I'm surprised there's enough to fill an entire 1-hour episode for King Bumi. So I wonder what additional material we might be getting. Maybe we can fold in the imprisoned episode with Haru, but that seems unlikely. Plus, I don't believe anyone was cast for Haru's character, so that storyline might be completely cut. Sorry to anyone who was looking forward to Haru's mustache in Book 3. If Netflix isn't adapting the imprisoned episode, then I'm not sure what else could fill out the episode. If not the plot, then perhaps the themes from the episode will come over, like Katara trying to liberate earthbenders or something like that within Omashu or on the outskirts of Omashu. I'm not sure. This one is definitely puzzling for me. This episode is likely written by Christine Boylan, who wrote Marvel's The Punisher and Cloak and Dagger. The actors will likely include Utkarsh Ambudkar as King Bumi. Spirited Away is definitely our Spirit World / Avatar Roku episode, clearly. Perfect fit for the 4th episode. I don't see this going any other way. Also perfect for the midpoint, since we'll have the definitive statement of Aang having to get on his horse to save the damn day. Also, I predict a change to the storyline, whereas Sozin's comment will come in years instead of in 1 year, so something like 2 to 3 years instead of it being just 1 year like the original show. I have heard rumors that they want to film books 2 and 3 back to back, but even then, I don't think that'll help them with Gordon Cormier at age 14 on the cusp of a growth spurt. That could be explained away if the writers say that the gang spends a lot more time in the north before leaving the Earth Kingdom. That would explain any growth spurt that Gordon could have. And I've heard some fans who are displeased with this idea because it reduces the stakes of Sozin's comment coming in less than a year, but for me, it actually would make more sense because in the original show, I felt a lot of the kid benders progressed way too quickly. With martial arts in real life, it takes years to master a discipline, not a few months. It's a critique I have for many progression fantasy tropes, even with Star Wars. Knowing what we know of Darth Vader, Luke should not have been able to stand up to him in Empire Strikes Back like he did, especially when Luke didn't spend more than a week with Yoda. But I digress. The other interesting thing about this episode is that we know that Fire Lord Sozin was cast this season, so it makes sense for him to make an appearance in relation to Roku. Maybe. We'll see. This episode is likely written by Keely McDonald, who co-wrote He-Man and the Master of the Universe. The actors will likely include C.S. Lee as Avatar Roku and Hiro Kanagawa as Fire Lord Sozin. Now, the last 4 episodes are a bit more tricky. Into the Dark being the 5th episode, I think, can be a melding of the waterbending squirrel and Jet. But I'm not so sure because that title is so grim. I don't know if the freedom fighters or pirates are really dark enough, unless they go darker with that subject matter. But one could say those storylines can get pretty dark, especially with someone like Jet, who sort of lost his moral compass because the war beat it out of him. Plus, this is the one that Katara's actress teased, saying it was her favorite of the bunch, and I guess that makes sense because the waterbending squirrel and Jet are mostly about her in the mix. And if this episode is about the seedy parts of the countryside, this could be where we'll see an appearance from June, since right now I don't think they'll be including the exact events of Bato and the Water Tribe, which is where she first shows up. Heck, we might even see a bit of Azula, Mei, and Ty Lee, but I doubt that. For this first book, I really think we're only going to see those characters in flashbacks, probably in the same scene where Zuko gets his scar, which I'll talk about a little bit later.
Additionally, just an editor's note, this also could be the finale because Into the Darkness could be an allusion to the fact that the moon spirit is dead and the moon is gone and they might have that black and white thing going on, so yeah, that's possible as well.
This episode is likely being written by Gabriel Llanas, who did National Treasure: Edge of History over on Disney+. The actors will likely include Arden Cho as June, Sebastian Amaruso as Jet, Taylor Lamb Wright as the Duke, Nathaniel Kong as Longshot, and Wes Valero as Smellerby. The episode titled Mask is most definitely the Storm and the Blue Spirits, and I think they'll skip the Divide and the Fortune Teller. And this is where I think we're going to see a lot of Zuko's backstory and of course Aang's backstory, but this is where I think we most likely will see our first appearance of Azula and her friends. And I really like this notion and idea. I think the Storm and the Blue Spirit pair together very well. So much so that I spent a few minutes talking about that in my previous video on this channel. This episode is likely being written by Uta Mohammed, who wrote for LA Law. When it comes to the last 2 episodes, I'm not too sure on the order like I am with the others, but it does make sense as it's listed now, one after the other. The North is obviously everything to do with Paku and the Northern Water Tribe, but they would have to fold in the Northern Air Temple as well, as we do know that people from that episode have been cast, like Danny Pudi, who I totally love from Community. But I don't see a very good balance between those 2 episodes, and I'm not sure the Northern Air Temple would fit with the Mass episodes either. Legends, I think, makes sense because of Aang going into the spirit world. We definitely will see Avatar Kuruk here, as well as some other spirits like Ko the Face Stealer, Wasing Tong, who might show up in a flashback when Zhao discovered the secret of the moon and ocean spirits. But I think it'll be kind of neat if we have Avatar Kyoshi in the Warriors episode, and then Avatar Roku in the Spirited Away episode, and then finally Avatar Kuruk for that final episode, where we could even get hints of some of the stuff that happened in the Kyoshi books. Lots and lots of exciting possibilities. The only thing that saddens me is that my boy Zhang Zhang seems like he got the cut from season 1, which sucks. The Deserter is one of my favorite episodes and I simply don't see where it can fit in this season. But I can totally see the writers repurposing it for somewhere in the first few episodes of Book 3.
Another quick editor's note, so it just got revealed what the official titles and the official order is, so they're right here on screen so you can see what the order is. I'll maybe do a follow-up video to talk about, how the official order is breaking down, but for now, I'm still going to keep this video because I'm literally uploading it right now.
But I want to hear from you all. What do you think of this episode list, and how do you think the writers will work out the jigsaw puzzle? I'm really curious to hear your thoughts. After you comment below, check out this video on screen where I describe the good, the bad, and the ugly of the recent first look we got from the live-action adaptation. I'll catch you on the next one, and as always, peace, love, and remember, be water, my friends.